Good afternoon. I am Dr. Terry James Gingras, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat, and this is a show about making the world safe for ADHDers. I am a clinical neuropsychologist and psychologist, and I am also, and I see probably at least half of my patients. I'm in private practice, and at least half of my patients are ADHD in some way or other. Either they're parents of ADHD folks, or they have ADHD themselves, or the ones that really tear up my heart the most are the ones who should have been diagnosed when they were 11 or so, and instead they're coming in and they're in their 30s and early 40s, and they're kind of a mess, honestly. They've had all those years of trying to compensate, and usually not terribly successfully, and so they come see me when they're sick of being fired from jobs and having relationships break up on them and just generally not doing real well in life. And I really feel for those folks, because it's like, dang, it's so unnecessary. It's just, it really is. And so, anyway, I have, I think I've said this before, but I have made pretty much all the mistakes you can make raising a kid with ADHD, not because I'm particularly aggressive or arrogant or anything like that. It's just we didn't know anything about this stuff. When I was parenting young kids, we did not know diddle about ADHD. Matter of fact, there was a lot of question as to whether or not ADHD actually existed. Well, now here we are, and we have got major research and major treatment and many options, actually, and whole bunches of stuff that make it pretty easy, really, to have an ADHD child, or a lot easier than it used to be anyway. I'm not going to say it's easy. No. Been there, done that. It's not easy. But we still have some of the residuals of that kind of, he's just a boy, or he'll grow out of it, or God, if she just concentrates, she could get such great grades, and all that other kind of thinking that's not very helpful. Somewhere along the line with that is that I keep forgetting, and I'm not a psychologist because I wanted to be a businessman. So a lot of times I don't think about things like marketing and that sort of stuff. But one of the options people have, and it's especially good for older folks, adults, is coaching. Okay? If you've never heard of coaching, or if you think of coaching as a whistle and a ball of some sort, that's not what we're talking about. Coaching has been around for a long time, but basically it's different from therapy, okay? I've been doing psychotherapy for a lot of years anyway, and coaching for a much shorter period of time. But what coaching does is, instead of trying to get you functioning from a position where you're kind of one down, where you're having troubles with anxiety, or you're having troubles with depression, or your phobias are getting in your way, or that sort of stuff, and try to build you up to, what's passably normal. Coaching is designed more to help you get what you're trying to get to, help you achieve your goals, your So in that sense, you set the goals for things. In most therapies, the therapist will set the goals. He or she may want to check with you, but yeah, the bottom line is that they've got the toolkit, and they're pretty much determining what's available to use and how and when to use it. In coaching, it's all about getting to where you want to go. Okay? Coaches are specifically trained. Coaches are usually certified by one body or another. Some aren't, though. I mean, some very good ones are self-trained, I guess you'd say, and do quite nicely. And the other thing, and this is, before this whole pandemic thing, we had a lot of rules about how you can do therapies and how you can do, basically how you can do therapy. Unless you were in a rural area where people had a hard time getting to you, you pretty much had to see people in your office. Well, since the pandemic started, they've really relaxed the rules on that, and so we're all doing what is called telepsychology, which basically just means we're either on the internet, through Doxy or Zoom or something. Well, yeah, or Zoom, yeah. We're doing therapy that way. Coaching has pretty much always been done over the phone, and now it's more and more being done, like over Zoom, StreamYard, one of those. Anyway, and so you don't have to go in to somebody's office and spend like 2 hours out of your time to get 1 hour of service. Doesn't work like that anymore. You can be at work and get to a quiet place and get them on the phone or get them on your computer or on your iPhone and do your session, and then go right back to work without losing any time with travel, fighting traffic, any of that stuff. And that's a big convenience for a lot of people. So coaching, like I said, has always pretty much been done. Well, it would be a teletherapy, I guess, except coaching technically is not therapy. Okay, coaching is pretty much pretty behaviorally oriented, but again, the focus is what steps do you need to take to get to where you want to go, to get to whatever your goal is. A lot of executives are being coached as part of their company's personnel development program. For a lot of them, they pay for coaching because they get a better executive that way. And in this time, when we've got people who are being basically quarantined, so you have to stay home, or you can go out, but you can't just sort of wander like you're used to. There are restrictions. But that brings up a lot of issues with people, that coaching can be helpful with. So just therapy, everybody, I'm assuming most people know about therapy. If you have an ADHD child or you are ADHD yourself, you know that treatment model basically is some combination of psychotherapy and usually medication. Okay, I mean, there are some cases and some treatments that are still being developed, but some people find them effective, and some people don't find them effective. That's pretty much the way it is with a lot of stuff. But the stuff that's basically been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt is medications. of various kinds, and therapy, psychotherapy. It is still somewhat difficult to get somebody who really knows about ADHD as a therapist. So you got to make sure, of your person's background and what they've been doing, and how they come to, being willing to do therapy in an ADHD situation. You don't want to just assume they know what they're doing because they got something on the wall. But anyway, so traditionally medication, psychotherapy. Sometimes some people are doing neurofeedback. That's still, sometimes you find a study that says it works. Sometimes you find a study that says it doesn't work so well. And it's darn expensive. Very much so. So, those are pretty much your options. The best non-medical thing you can do for ADHD is exercise vigorously. Become a marathon runner, or a soccer player, or a kayaker, or some distance bike rider, one of those things. That gives you about the best non-medical control you're going to get. Now we're adding coaching. We're saying, hey, coaching can help you a lot, especially if you're an adult. It's helpful, real helpful for career expansion, trying to get to the next goal, the next promotion, that sort of stuff. It's also real helpful if you're an entrepreneur, and you're going through all the rigmarole, the joys and the sorrows of starting your own business. Been there, done that. So glad I did start my own business. Cannot imagine going back and having to work for somebody again. And I know that's the case with most of you out there who have ADHD. You are not going to like working for somebody else. And you're probably going to have troubles doing it. So, but coaching can help you achieve some of your goals. And it also helps you define some of your goals. I'm not saying you the whole load is on you. And there are some specialty areas, like I'm certified in high performance coaching, which is by the High Performance Institute, and it's basically, it comes out basically of, I've always had an interest in human potential and that sort of thing, and this was right up my alley, and indeed it is. Basically it's based on studies that were done of high performers in different areas of life, and their what they do, what kind of habits they have, what kind of things they do to achieve their optimal performance. And it's real interesting stuff. But anyway, for ADHD, coaching is usually once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks, but generally once a week. And it's a private pay situation, so your insurance doesn't cover that. But on the other hand, your privacy is protected. You don't have the insurance company looking through your therapist's records and so on. And increasingly, your medical records are in a network. But depending on what organization your say your primary care doc is affiliated with, here in my area we have 3 major organizations, and they control most of the medical care in this area, and each one of them has their own system of records that basically everybody who works for the same system, if they treat you, that medication goes to a central area, which frankly I've never been all that comfortable with. it goes to a central area so that if you go from one doctor to another and they're in the same system, the new doctor can look at your records from the old doctor, and there's some potential with those sorts of things. When you're working with an individual coaches are ornery, independent folks generally. They are not affiliated with big organizations typically, and so you get a little bit of an advantage in terms of privacy and being protected, where you may not doing therapy, say. So it's something, to consider. Invite you to research it. Google's wonderful. It will give you some information in perhaps a little more depth than I've covered now, but it would be something to consider, especially if your current treatment regimen doesn't seem to be quite filling the bill. That may be what you're looking for. Okay? All right, that's it for today. As usual, I'm Dr. Terry James Gingras, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat. And the purpose of this whole exercise is to make the world safer for ADHDers, because ADHDers are the outside-the-box thinkers who are going to solve the world's big problems. So we need to encourage them. Just because it isn't easy doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. Okay, and my website is terrygingrasphd.com. And if you've got any questions, anything specific you want me to cover or talk about, please drop a message somewhere. Or, I don't know whether is it down there or maybe it's over there. I don't know, but please do, and we will get to that as soon as we can. Okay. Catch you next week.